This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 3 of Whispers of Sound, Secrets Behind Famous Tracks. In today's episode, titled Secret Heroes Behind the Rolling Stones, we're diving into the fascinating world of the unsung collaborators who played pivotal roles in crafting the iconic tracks of this legendary band. Get ready to uncover the stories and talents that help shape their unforgettable sound. Let's dive in. A scream in the middle of the night, a cracked high note, and a cowbell no one planned to record. Some of the most iconic Rolling Stones moments came from people whose names never made the poster. Stay with me as we follow the ghosts hiding in those grooves. Before those late-night sessions and accidental miracles, something quieter was happening. The Stones were slowly building an invisible all-star team. Not a supergroup on the album cover, but a circle of specialists who each brought one rare skill the band couldn't fake. One person knew exactly how to make a drum kit sound like it was collapsing down a stairwell without turning to mush. Another could slip a piano line between guitar riffs so naturally it felt like it had always been there. A manager could spot which chaotic take was actually the keeper. Think of it like designing a new smartphone. The headline feature might be the camera, but it only feels magical because dozens of hidden components work in sync. In the same way, these collaborators didn't dilute the Stones' identity. They sharpened it, making the rawest ideas hit even harder on record. They didn't arrive all at once. These secret heroes drifted in and out of the Stones' orbit like freelancers on a long, messy project. A pianist might be summoned for one track, disappear for an album, then return when a new song demanded exactly his left hand. An engineer would join for a few weeks, change the way drums were captured, and quietly move on to the next band. Contracts were loose, schedules chaotic, and yet the same names kept resurfacing at crucial turning points, nudging the group's sound forward whenever it threatened to calcify into formula. Their legacy hides in credits most listeners never read. Ian Stewart was the first of these quiet catalysts. He helped form the band, then got pushed off stage in 1963 when manager Andrew Loog Oldham decided his square jaw and older, unpop look didn't fit the emerging image. Most players would have walked. Stewart simply shifted position. He kept playing on records, chose pianos in studios, booked vans and hotels, and became the one person who could tell Jagger and Richards a take was flat and have them actually listen. When the rhythm section sounds unusually grounded on a live bootleg, chances are Stewart had his clipboard and his boogie-woogie right hand in the room. If Stewart was the anchor, Jimmy Miller was the accelerant. When he arrived as producer in the late 60s, he wasn't just adjusting EQ, he was rewriting the band's internal physics. Couldn't get the right swing? Miller would grab a percussion instrument or even sit at the drum kit himself until the groove locked. His job was part mechanic, part psychologist, sensing when Keith needed another shot at a riff, or when the whole room needed the lights dimmed and the tape rolling before anyone knew they were doing a take. Around them orbited players whose names loyal fans now treat almost like secret passwords. Nicky Hopkins could turn a half-formed vamp into a widescreen landscape with a few piano voicings. Bobby Keys didn't play sax so much as detonate it, blowing holes in the arrangement that the band then had to rise to fill. Mary Clayton walked into a late-night session in Curlers and left having permanently rewritten what a rock backing vocal could be. None of them were there to decorate, they were there to provoke. Behind the glass, engineers like Glyn Johns were quietly changing the rulebook. His sparse drum miking setups forced the band to balance themselves in the room, the way a tight defense in basketball forces every player to communicate instead of relying on one star to bail them out. The result wasn't tidier, it was more dangerous because every mistake and every flash of chemistry ended up burned into tape. Your challenge this week: pick one Stones track and hunt down who's in the "also starring" column. Read the session credits, then listen again, focusing on a single, non-famous name. Trace exactly what they add: one piano riff, one echo choice, one harmony line, and notice how different the song feels once you can hear that ghost at work. Think of these collaborators like the Stones' unofficial R&D lab, constantly testing wild ideas, then vanishing before the product launch. Take Jack Nietzsche. He wasn't just doing arrangements, he'd sneak in textures, like ghostly percussion or a subtly detuned keyboard, that bent the emotional color of a track without calling attention to themselves. Or Glyn Johns experimenting with how a room itself could be part of the instrument, shifting mic positions until the air around the band started to sing. In a sense, each of them acted more like a software update than a guest star. You didn't see the change, but suddenly the whole system behaved differently. Grooves became more elastic, guitars sat in new pockets, vocals felt more dangerous or more intimate. That's the real secret. These people weren't there to overwrite the band's code, but to debug it in real time, stripping out what was dull and surfacing what was volatile, one small, precise tweak at a time. Future studios may function more like live, editable credits feeds than sealed rooms, with stems flying between cities the way design files move through a startup. As AI rough mixes sessions and proposes parts, human secret heroes might shift from playing every note to curating, vetoing, and emotionally tuning what survives. Think less lone genius, more open-source project, where every subtle pull request to a song's feel is tracked, tagged, and publicly acknowledged. So as you replay those records, treat the credits like blueprints. Each extra name is a hidden beam or support column holding the song up, even if you never noticed it before. Over time, you'll start hearing gaps in newer tracks, places where an uncredited hand could tilt the whole structure. That awareness is its own instrument. Once tuned, it's hard to turn off. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one secret hero from the episode, like Ian Stewart, Jimmy Miller, or Bobby Keys, and spend 30 focused minutes researching just their contributions to the Rolling Stones sound. Then, listen to 3 specific tracks where they shine. For example, Brown Sugar for Bobby Keys, Exile on Main Street cuts for Jimmy Miller, or early piano-driven tracks for Ian Stewart, and jot a one-sentence note on what you hear them adding in each song. Finally, share one of those songs with a friend and, in 2 sentences or less, explain that unsung person's role. Your goal is to make at least one other person notice that secret hero this week. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!